A beautiful day on the banks of the Mississippi in downtown St. Louis, home to baseball's #1 team. The St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium here this afternoon, playing host to the Pittsburgh Pirates in a showdown in the National League Central Division. And with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us for baseball here on Fox Sports. Great pitching matchup today.
Yeah, I love this matchup. We've got two guys with great movement. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, they'll go with Charlie Morton, who pitched very well against the Cardinals last time he was here at Busch Stadium. Just 1 hit in 7 innings. And Jaime Garcia has been a savior for this Cardinals rotation. He's been terrific.
Charlie Morton, the right-hander. Jaime Garcia, the lefty. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Pittsburgh Pirates. A showdown in the National League Central Division. Two of the best teams. You'll see them with our first pitch next on Fox Sports. We'll finish up his warm-up tosses and trying to pick up win number 7 today for the St. Louis Cardinals. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Very warm afternoon here in St. Louis in early September, 94 degrees. Along with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin as we come to you from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A look at Clint Hurdle's lineup. This team banged out 17 hits in their 9-3 win, snapping a 4-game losing skid last night. Second baseman Josh Harrison. followed by Jordy Mercer, then Andrew McCutchen, an MVP candidate again. Jung Ho Kang, Starling Marte, Michael Morse, Sean Rodriguez, Chris Stewart, and the pitcher batting ninth. That's Charlie Morton. On the bench, any team you look at in September, they have plenty of bodies in there, a couple of switch hitters, 3 hitting from the left side, 2 from the right side for Clint Hurdle's club. So Josh Harrison will dig in. He's batting .273 this year. 4 home runs, 24 RBIs. And Jaime Garcia, as we mentioned earlier, trying to pick up victory number 8 here today.
Start number 15 for Garcia, facing an entirely right-handed hitting Pittsburgh Pirate lineup here this afternoon. The Cardinals looking to turn things around after it was all Pittsburgh in game 1 of this series.
And the first pitch by Garcia is taken for a ball, and we're underway. Josh Harrison, very versatile player. He's played third, short, and second base, a little outfield this year as well. Here's a 1-0. Pulled foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. A look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Cardinals left-hander Jaime Garcia.
Sinker, the best pitch for Garcia. He has as much movement as any pitcher you're going to see in the big leagues. Also has a 4-seamer, a slider, a changeup, and a curve. Mixes his pitches well, but the sinker is really his pitch. Very difficult, Dan, to catch.
We were talking to Mike Matheny about that before the game. This particular style of pitcher, you would think maybe the guys that throw triple digits would be hard to catch. He said, no, sir, those are easy. As a matter of fact, a guy like Garcia is what hurt my thumb, is what Mike talked about, and probably, you know what, made it a little bit more difficult for him to catch.
You mentioned catching Rick Antiel, who had a little bit more velocity than Jaime Garcia has, but both of them just explosive, sinking fastballs, and it gets your thumb a lot as a catcher as you kind of frame it improperly. And Garcia, of course, difficult to catch, but the Cardinals have the best catcher in baseball in Yadier Molina.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Harrison. And a swing and a miss. Picked by Molina. A strikeout for Garcia to start his afternoon. A look at the Cardinals defensively here in game number 2 of this 3-game weekend series. Steven Piscotty, the young rookie, has made an impact. He's in left. John Jay, first start since June 28th. Dealing with a wrist injury in center. Jason Hayward is in right. Matt Carpenter, Johnny Peralta, Colton Wong, and Brandon Moss on the infield. And Yadier Molina is behind the plate. That's presented by Dobbs. Here's Jordy Mercer riding a 7-game hitting streak, the shortstop for Pittsburgh.
Dan, other than the weather, it feels like September baseball here at the ballpark. Big crowd, Pirates, Cardinals battling for the division title. College football starting. The only problem is the heat.
We've had a fairly mild summer here in St. Louis. Hasn't been all that hot. For those that are in the Midwest watching our telecast today, you know what we're talking about. It can get hot, yes, but it's been okay. That pitch taken low. 2 balls and no strikes. You mentioned college football, and that's what Clint Hurdle was talking about with us. He says every time he comes to St. Louis, it feels like that college football atmosphere.
Clint, of course, played for the Cardinals years ago in 1986, and what he is sharing with us is his memories of that season. Despite it being a down year for the Cardinals, he was so appreciative of the history of the Cardinals, the fan support here, and loves coming back.
3-2 the count on Jordy Mercer. Mercer during this 7-game hitting streak is hitting .375.
Talk about the movement of Jaime Garcia. Watch this ball just take off. Yadi's thinking it's going to sink down and away, and that's the kind of pitch that can catch your thumb if you're not careful.
And a fly ball lifted into right. There's Jason Hayward on the track to put it away for out number 2. Two outs, nobody on, and it brings in Andrew McCutchen. Keep in mind, in first innings of his last 9 games, Andrew McCutchen, so in his first at bat, he bats third primarily every day for Clint Hurdle's club. is 7 for 7 with 2 walks in his last 9 games in the first inning. And swinging a hot bat overall, 11 for his last 19. Leads the Pirates in home runs and RBIs.
Part of the reason he was player of the month in the month of August, and he is red hot. This Pirate offense, I think, is terrific. They've got good weapons up and down the lineup. They run well. A lot of stolen bases and power in spots.
And there's a base hit to left. A single with 2 outs from McCutchen, so now 8 for his last 8 with 2 walks in the past 10 games.
Always like the short, quick stroke of McCutchen. There are times where you just like keeping him in the ballpark. The pitch down from Garcia, that's what he's going to try to do all afternoon. Sinkers down, try to get ground ball.
When you think about Rookie of the Year, you don't hear the name of Jung-Ho Kang, who signed from South Korea, was an outstanding hitter and shortstop there. He's played short and third base for the Pirates. He's at third today. 2 for 4 last night. And since the break, leads all rookies in extra base hits.
21 of those, and in my mind, he's got to be a top 5 guy in terms of National League Rookie of the Year. There's been good players, no question, but he's filled a good role for Pittsburgh with Jordy Mercer being out. Plays short, his best position, probably third base, but been a valuable part of a team that's just 5.5 games behind the Cardinals.
Duffy, Herrera, Gung, Yasmani Tomas, Randall Grichuk. The top averages among the rookies in the National League. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Pirates are 6th in the major leagues in stolen bases. And a bit surprising, at least to me, is the fact that Andrew McCutchen only has 7 stolen bases this year.
Marte, their real threat, along with Polanco, who's not starting today against the left-hander. Also interesting, Neil Walker's not in the lineup for a second straight game against the Cardinals.
1-2 is popped foul and out of play.
Walker a better hitter from the left side. Clint Hurdle with more weapons now that both Harrison and Mercer are back. He really has 9 or 10 starters for the positions right now, and he's got to figure out a way to get them at bats.
If you look at it and break it down, he's got 4 players from the left side of the infield that could be playing, 2 on the right side. And as he was telling us, a lot of it boils down to the analytics and looking at the metrics, both offense and defensive metrics. And he said with Charlie Morton, they want to go with their best team in his mind defensively. That's a fair ball hit to now Carpenter over to Brandon Moss. The Pirates strand a runner. That's McCutchen. And the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Pittsburgh at the start of play today. And a look at Mike Matheny's lineup, led by Matt Carpenter, then Stephen Piscotty, the red-hot rookie with an 11-game hitting streak on the line. Jason Hayward, Johnny Peralta, Brandon Moss, also swinging the bat well. Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, John Jay, and Jaime Garcia. On the bench, Greg Garcia, Cody Stanley from the left side, Borges, Pham, Reynolds, Cruz, and Cosma from the right side. And Charlie Morton was start number 19. Very good sinker ball, also a good breaking ball win right.
Garcia facing 9 right-handed bats. Morton facing 6 left-handed bats.
Matt Carpenter leads the Cardinals in home runs and RBIs, and doing that from the top spot in the lineup. Hyundai pitch arsenal here for Charlie Morton.
There's the sinkers. At one time, he would have been referred to as a sinker ball pitcher. Clint Hurdle prefers to call him a 4-pitch pitcher who's got a very good sinker.
He said, envision a bowling ball going down the alley with that big curve. That's the curve ball of Charlie Morton. Here's a 1-1. And that's a base hit into center field for Matt Carpenter. And the Cardinals get their leadoff man on. The Pirates defensively with Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen, Sean Rodriguez in right. Gung, Mercer, Harrison, and Morse on the infield. Chris Stewart behind the plate. Morton on the mound. That's presented by Dobbs.
The Pirates defensively have had some issues this year, but a lot of those issues center around Pedro Alvarez, who's not getting the start today against the left-hander Garcia. He has a number of errors, but defense critical behind a guy like Charlie Morton. So as you mentioned, the defensive metrics that Clint Hurdle is very, very attuned to are important here today.
Piscotty, this 11-game hit streak, the longest streak for Cardinals rookie since John Jay, who had 12 games in a row back in 2010. And Jay is in the lineup this afternoon. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gerardo Parra, the outfielder, the longest hitting streaks so far in the National League. He had 14 while with Milwaukee, and then Lucroy, also of the Brewers, was on that list.
So amazing what Piscotty is doing, because he's essentially taking the at-bats of Randal Grichuk, who was taking the at-bats of Matt Holliday. So Holliday a mainstay in this lineup. Then Grichuk brought power, but he is hurt and out. And Piscotty, next in line, has delivered as well.
And a check on Carpenter, has 3 steals this year.
Nice to have organizational depth, isn't it?
That's really been the theme of the Cardinals the last, 5-10 years. The young players that have stepped up and stepped in and not just been here, but played important roles on the team.
The Cardinals like to say next man up. That's kind of a phrase they're using. Well, that's only good if the next man is good.
It helps. That's into right. Caught by Rodriguez. And back to the bag at first goes Carpenter. Let's take a look at our Toyota keys to the game.
There's 2 very simple keys as far as I'm concerned, and that is who has the best sinker today. Is it Morton or Garcia? When they're right, their sinker can dominate a game, and the sinker tests the defense behind you. So it's not just the pitcher executing, but it's also the guys behind you. So perhaps the team that plays errorless ball today makes some good plays on balls hit in the holes. Perhaps that's the difference between winning and losing.
Now Jason Hayward with a lead at first by Carpenter, very short. An awful start to the season offensively for Jason Hayward. Now he is settled in, a free agent to be. One of the big questions around the Cardinals, will he re-sign and stay here in St. Louis?
We were told when he came to St. Louis he'd be a slow starter, and he was indeed a slow starter, but he has loosened up at the plate. He's much more comfortable, seems more relaxed, not as stiff. Driving the ball much better, but he's still hitting the ball the other way from time to time effectively. He'll take what the other pitcher gives him.
We saw that in game one here. As Hayward tried to line it to left field, go the other way as you mentioned, and Gung, the third baseman, way off the line last night, and that's the way he's playing right here. 3-0 the count. Will they turn him loose? Johnny Peralta, the Cardinals shortstop, on deck. Hayward bounces it towards second. Harrison flips with the glove and gets the lead man. This is a very athletic team when you talk about the Pirates. Great speed, good arms in the outfield, and Harrison, as we mentioned, can play all over the diamond.
I wonder if this flip surprises Mercer a little bit, who really wasn't able to make a classic turn at the bag. I'm not sure whether they would have been able to double up Hayward or not anyway, but a little bit of a defensive way of catching the ball backwards for Mercer, so no chance to turn two.
Johnny Peralta hitting .279 with 16 home runs, 60 RBIs. We'll see if St. Louis wants to be more aggressive with Chris Stewart behind the plate, not Cervelli. And their top base stealer is at first. That's Hayward with 20 steals this year, and he's back in safely.
20 for 22.
St. Louis suffered their 20th loss at home last night. Only 20 losses here at Busch Stadium. They have the best home and road records in baseball. As Peralta hits it to the left side, off the glove of the third baseman. That's Gung into the glove of Mercer, and everybody is safe.
That's the kind of in-between play we're talking about as far as how the defense can help out a sinker ball pitcher. There's going to be a lot of times where the defenders are tested. Not an easy play for Gung, but if he makes that play, Morton's out of the inning. And we'll see if Brandon Moss makes that hurt.
Runners at first and second. And the shift on here for Brandon Moss. Moss riding an 8-game hitting streak. Had his 4th straight multi-hit game last night. He's homered in 3 of the last 5. First pitch to Brandon Moss. Inside. You'll see that a lot from the Pirates. They love to pitch inside. The Pirates have hit the most batters and have been hit the most in the major leagues this year. And the 1-0. This is the 29th game wearing this Cardinals uniform for Brandon Moss. He's drawn 11 walks. The Cardinals have talked about in the last 2 weeks the at-bats that he's taking, not just the hits, but the walks he's drawing, and his eye has improved dramatically. And that pitch is a fly ball, lifted into left. And Marte is there. The Cardinals strand 2. We played 1. Major League Baseball on Fox Sports.
We talked about how difficult it can be to catch a guy with a nasty sinker. Yadier Molina tested a couple of times already. Watch how Yadi goes thumb up instead of thumb down, turns the glove so his thumb is up and doesn't get caught in an awkward position. Garcia throws another sinker here on the inner half of the plate, and again, Molina goes thumb up so the ball doesn't kind of catch him at the last minute and stretch that thumb. Mike Matheny telling us, Dan, how painful that can be. You actually stretch out the ligament, and in his mind, he has never been right again since his days of catching.
Starling Marte will lead it off, followed by Michael Morse and then Sean Rodriguez. No score, top of the second. The Cardinals own the best record in terms of home and road. That's pushed foul. The last team to finish up the year with the best records of both the home games and road games, the 1986 world champion Mets, the year of Bill Buckner. So you get the idea, it doesn't happen very often.
That was the year Clint Hurdle was a Cardinal. In between years of being a Met. He was a Met in 85 and 87 when the Cardinals won the pennant. And he was a Cardinal the year the Mets won the pennant.
And he turned down the Mets' offer to become the Pirates' manager. He had a couple of offers, two teams to choose from, and he went with the Pirates. One and two the count on Starling Marte. The Cardinals the best pitching in terms of ERA, 2.72, and behind them the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Marte is hit by the pitch.
You mentioned the Pirates get hit a lot, and they hit a lot. Slider right off the top of the foot. Really never moved an inch.
And it brings in Michael Morse. Overall hitting .240 in 23 games with the Pirates, .361. And this is his 9th start since being acquired. Began the season with the Miami Marlins. Born and raised in that area, went to their first ever game in Marlins history, was excited as a free agent to sign with the Marlins, and once again, Miami getting rid of some of their players. Marte certainly a threat to steal with 26 this year. And the Pirates have been hit a league high 77 times.
Every time I see Michael Morse, and Danny, I don't know if you were doing the game, I was actually here at Busch Stadium where Morse early on with instant replay hit a home run and was challenged. And it became a home run. Kyle Loesch was pitching for the Cardinals. And after the fact, they gave Morse a home run. So he stood at home plate, pretended to hit the home run again because they told him, you have to circle the bases. We can't just call it a home run. You literally have to run around the bases. So he stood at home, did a little phantom swing, and Loesch played along with it, and he ran around the bases.
I was doing the game. It was one of my most dramatic and famous calls I've ever had.
I should have remembered that part of it. Sorry.
It was the oddest thing I'd ever seen on a baseball field.
So you called the pseudo home run, after the fact home run.
And that was the year. Replay was just, as you mentioned, just coming into existence with Major League Baseball. And that time it was only home runs that were looked at. That was it. Not what we have here today. I guess you could say I called the first ever replay too, which should not have been called. Frank Pulley, 1999, went to our cameras down in Miami at the old stadium to see if a ball was hit that went over the wall or not, or if it hit the yellow line at then Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, and he overturned the call, and he was reprimanded big time from Major League Baseball for doing that. A swing and a miss. And Garcia picks up his second strikeout.
Sometimes you get reprimanded for being ahead of your time.
There it was. There's a good pitch here by Jaime Garcia.
Pulls the string on it, the changeup. Very deceptive. He hides the ball very well and doesn't really necessarily do it on purpose. It's a natural part of his motion. Really hides the ball behind his body, and really his motion is not something you'd necessarily teach young people. He really goes way behind when he's making his arm arc out of his glove in an almost awkward position. Stress on the shoulder, but it works for him and it helps create movement.
One out. Sean Rodriguez, ball one. We talked about how Sean's dad is a coach in the Cardinals minor league system, and from what we've seen of him, limited time this year, he is a valuable player off the bench in terms of his defense, especially for Pittsburgh.
He's had some good at-bats against the Cardinals as well.
He was 2 for 2 last night, and he's 8 for his last 14.
You've heard me say a couple of times, Danny, but talking with his dad in spring training about the first time his dad got to see him hit a home run for Tampa, I believe it was against the Yankees. He said he was in tears and he couldn't stop crying. And he was in tears telling me the story years later. Just a very cool moment.
Here's a 1-0. Hits it left side, and Carpenter was near the line. And a base hit out to left. Marte advances to second base. So he's 3 for 3 in this series.
There's Carpenter playing the line, maybe just 2 feet off the line. And Rodriguez finding the hole. Again, infield defense on ground balls will be a key story all afternoon.
Now Chris Stewart, the catcher today, with Cervelli on the bench. Runners at first and second. Outfield is straight away. Good speed on the bases. And the first pitch is a strike. You think about the injuries that Garcia has dealt with in his career. Shoulder injury, Tommy John, thoracic outlet surgery. These are not minor little ones along the way that many players have. These have been major career-threatening injuries that he's dealt with.
Anybody that's ever been through rehab understands how tedious that could be. Jaime Garcia probably understands that process better than most people, having gone through it so many times. Just getting that little 1/8 of an inch more of rotation or flexibility, and the pain involved in it, and good to see him healthy again.
You think about Garcia, you think ground balls, you think the potential of double plays. This time he picks up the strikeout. Second in the inning, third this afternoon. Garcia has not seen a loss in 6 straight starts overall heading into this contest this afternoon.
This strikeout's a breaking ball from Garcia. Tight spin, down and in. It's a slider, big slider with a nice break to it, and Stewart couldn't lay off. That's what movement will do to a hitter. It'll make you chase. You're really not sure where it's going to end up. So at times you will swing at pitches that are 4, 5, 6 inches off the plate.
Charlie Morton this season 1 for 28. No home runs, 1 RBI. We're in the top of the second. And an 0-1 pitch. Hits it out of play, foul, 0-2. Busch Stadium is filled up again. This will be the 12th consecutive year. 3 million or more have come through the turnstiles of St. Louis is edging closer to 3.4 million again in attendance. And the first year they had $3 million was all the way back in 1987. Here's an 0-2.
John Jay back in center field for the Cardinals, playing very shallow with the pitcher at the plate. Casey bloops one over the infield. He wants to be ready to make that play, but he's also being the general in just his second game back. He moved Stephen Piscotty over about 5 feet after that foul down the right field line. Nice to have John Jay back.
And the 1-2 pitch on its way. He strikes out the side here in the second inning. The Cardinals, looking ahead to the bottom of the second, will have Molina, Wong, and Jay due up. Third member of our broadcast crew downstairs to Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Dan, Jay Happ was really good last night. Threw 7 scoreless. Now, Brandon Moss had faced him when he was a member of the Mariners, and Moss told me Happ is now a different guy, has much better command. Happ has been a different pitcher since the trade that brought him to the Bucs from Seattle. He's 4-1, 1.57 ERA, and 6 starts with the Pirates. Happ told me a minor mechanical adjustment helped him rediscover his control. He told me his pitching coach, Ray Searage, helped him straighten out his leg drive toward home. Happ says he was spinning off toward third. He says that and being part of a winning, energetic team, 2 pretty good reasons as to why he's been better as a Pirate, guys.
All right, Jimmy, thanks. 1-0 to Yadier Molina is taken for a ball. It was also Ray Searage, the pitching coach of the Pirates, that went to Charlie Morton and said, you might want to take a look at what Roy Halladay is doing in terms of his motion towards the plate. And if you watch Charlie Morton here today, you may have flashbacks to the great Roy Halladay, the outstanding Blue Jay and Philly.
Pirates give a lot of credit to Ray Searage, and they should. Very good baseball man and not afraid to come out and kind of wear out that path to the mound. He's got a lot of things to say to his pitching staff, but clearly he's helping guys out. And Jim's right. Happ was terrific yesterday. 8 strikeouts, just 3 hits in 7 innings against a team that had hit him very well in the past.
So 1 out, and here is Colton Wong. And the 1-0 pitch. Wong rips it foul. Boy, every time you see that, you do get concerned about fans in the seats, and I know that's something that Major League Baseball is taking a hard look at.
And they should. I can't take my eyes off of that when that happens, because I know how fast this ball is coming off the bat of Colton Wong, and even a guy with a glove is going to be concerned if that ball's coming at him, but a defenseless fan, Colton Wong, understands it too. Please miss everybody. I mean, that's the reaction of every player, every coach, and every manager down on the field. It is something clearly baseball has to look at more closely.
2 balls, 1 strike with 1 out and nobody on.
I'd be an advocate too, Dan. One of the things that bothers me most is when we see young children very close to the dugout. And I understand parents want them to be there and have good seats, but it is way more dangerous a position to put them in than you think it is. And perhaps there needs to be rules about that.
Be alert. And it's a walk to Colton Wong.
That's that scary area right there, just over the dugout.
Nice round of applause for John Jay. Long stand on the DL. Pinch hit. Stayed in the game last night. Dealing with that sore wrist. He has had good numbers against Charlie Morton. 9 for 20. 2 doubles in his career. 1 out, runner at first. And Jay is hit by the pitch. No surprise there. Always among the team and league leaders. And it brings in Jaime Garcia.
Not much movement from John Jay either, so Marte and Jay both get hit a lot, and they add to their totals here in the first couple of innings.
So, runners at first and second for Jaime Garcia.
Couple ways to go here for Mike Matheny. Garcia could bunt a couple of guys into scoring position for Matt Carpenter, but Jaime's been swinging the bat so well, he may just let him swing away.
Showing bunt, and there's strike 1.
The downside of swinging away, especially against a sinker ball pitcher, is the possibility of hitting into a double play. You'd like to give Carpenter a shot either way here in the second.
So 1 out, runners at first and second. Thank you, Kevin. For those of you watching Tampa Bay and New York, welcome to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Along with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. In a hot afternoon here in the Gateway City. And the Cardinals have runners at second and third. We are in the home half of the second, no score. And 2 teams battling it out. In the National League Central Division, the Cardinals with a 5.5 game lead at the start of play today over Pittsburgh. Carpenter has been one of the best in the National League all year long with runners in scoring position right around that 340 mark, and he'll have runners at second and third with 2 down. He singled to center his first time up. Ball scoots away, but Wong does not advance from third. Good speed for the Cardinals on the bases with Jay, their center fielder, at second, and Colton Wong, one of their top base stealers, at third.
Looking to get that jump. Always be ready. Nice to have a guy like Matt Carpenter at the top of your lineup who can do so many things. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter. Does get on base, but certainly has the ability to drive in runs, leads the Cardinals with home runs. As you mentioned, been an RBI machine.
1-0. taken outside. The Pirates pounded the Cardinals last night, a 17-hit attack to take game one. And this has been a place, it's been a house of horrors, if you will, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Cardinals have won 17 of the last 21 against the Pirates here at Busch Stadium.
Clint Hurdle's team has had a hard time winning games in the Central Division, but they didn't have a hard time last night. It was all Pirates.
Great start from Jay Happ, their lefty that they acquired, and Carlos Martinez went 5 innings for St. Louis, the All-Star. 3-0, Stephen Piscotty waits on deck. And again, you have that question, do you turn him loose here on 3-0?
I think you turn him loose, but I don't think Matt Carpenter's going to be very anxious to swing at this pitch. I think he senses that perhaps they're pitching around him, more of the intentional walk type at bat without actually doing it. They're going off the plate again, and there's ball 4.
Bases loaded. Second walk issued by Charlie Morton. Winning within the division, a 23-game difference between the two teams. The Pirates, they have struggled in the division, and for whatever reason, they cannot win against the Brewers in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it isn't just the top teams in the Central Division. They struggle at times with the Cincinnati Reds, but really their nemesis is the Milwaukee Brewers. They came off a sweep there before coming to St. Louis. The Cardinals have been playing great baseball. They'd won 9 out of 10 games overall before losing their last 2. But these two guys, to me, Clint Hurdle and Mike Matheny, it's just one man's vote, but in my mind, whoever wins the Central Division is the National League Manager of the Year.
Joe Madden certainly would be in that conversation.
Terry Collins as well.
So 2 outs, bases loaded, and the red-hot rookie Stephen Piscotty lined out to right his first time up and riding an 11-game hitting streak. Big gap in left center. Strike 1. How would you rate the arms of the Pirates outfield?
Well, they're all very good outfielders, and even without Polanco in, you've got Rodriguez, who's a good outfielder in right, the strong arm of McCutchen in center. Marte may have the best arm of the 3 of them in left field. He's a very good athlete. Likes to throw.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's the tilt of the breaking ball of Morton. Should have been a strike. Very deep in center field, by the way, is McCutchen.
The next to Piscotty. Doesn't chase. We've seen that from a young player just called up, staying away from that breaking ball on the middle outer half. Great discipline.
Plate discipline. That's step 1. If you keep swinging at pitches you can't hit, it's hard to play at this level.
The 2-1. Up the middle. The shift was on. A high chopper throw to first and safe. 2 runs will score. Ball gets away from Morse. Carpenter rounding third. He'll stop there. 2-0 St. Louis here in the home half of the second.
We talked in our open about the importance of infield defense in this game with 2 sinker ball pitchers. You've got to make the routine plays and you've got to make the great plays, and the Pirates can't make that play. A tough hop for Harrison, and the Cardinals take advantage of it and get on the board first.
There is charge to Harrison, number 13, and it's runners at the corners for Jason Hayward. That ball was almost right up, right on the bag at second base. And if it hits the bag, who knows where it goes. And I think that played into how Harrison fielded that baseball.
And it had topspin on it, too. So that jump at the last second, I think, fooled Harrison. In my mind, you might consider that being a hit and an error. But doesn't matter as far as the Cardinals are concerned. Either way, it's 2 runs. There's Jay taking off a second, and there's the ball just missing the second base bag.
One ball, one strike on the Cardinals right fielder. Inside and a pickoff, and back in safely is Piscotty.
There's a secondary lead. Don't get too far off.
The 2-1 pitch.
Glenn Hurdle was telling us that the fate of Charlie Morton often has to do with a particular 15-pitch sequence in a game, whether it's middle of the game, end of the game, end of an inning, beginning of an inning. There's usually a 15-pitch period that either makes him or breaks him.
That's pulled foul. It was interesting how he looked at it, too. He said it's really not just Morton, but basically the way that we evaluate our pitchers, to further your point, the 15 pitch increments. So especially with Morton, but even with everybody else.
It's that negative spin that starts. Do you turn it around quickly or not? You come up with a pitch when you need it. He needs one now.
And a ground ball that's hit to short. Across the diamond goes Mercer. And the Cardinals strand 2, but they pick up an early lead. You're watching Major League Baseball on Fox Sports. The hashtag MW Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. At the top of the lineup for Pittsburgh, Harrison, Mercer, McCutchen, 2-0 St. Louis here in the third. Last night, a 9-3 Pirates win in Game 1 of this all-important weekend series. Just their 8th road win inside the division all year long. Then you look at what they've done outside the division. They have dominated the National League. Harrison struck out swinging first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Much easier to understand the Pirates dominating outside of the division as good as their club is. They've got top frontline starting pitching. They've got 2 very good pitchers in their bullpen, and Watson and Melanson in the 8th and 9th inning. It's easier to understand that than it is to understand how they played so poorly in the division. I think that's the mystery.
Here's a 1-2. Garcia looking for strikeout number 5, and it's hit out of play. The home Saturdays here in St. Louis, the Cardinals wear their alternate 3rd jersey. And the Cardinals had not worn a jersey with anything but Cardinals on the front since 1932. So you have the familiar birds on the bat, but St. Louis on the front. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss, and again picked by Molina, just like in the first at bat. And Harrison strikes out for the 2nd time.
The movement of Jaime Garcia. Strikeout number 5. Garcia does not have the velocity where you'd say, well, he's got the best stuff I've seen in the last couple of seasons, but if you talk to all the Cardinals starting pitching, and it's been good, every one of them will say the best stuff on their staff belongs to Jaime Garcia because of his movement.
That drops in for a strike to Jordy Mercer, who's flied out to right.
First heard that from Chris Carpenter, who said it directly to Jaime as a young pitcher. He said, do you understand how good your stuff is?
It's sharply and past Colton Wong and into center field. And Mercer is aboard with a 1-out hit. Saw Colton Wong looking back at the infield as if it took a little tricky hop on him. That was a hard hit ball.
Saw the ball scoot on Harrison a bit last inning, and that ball jumped up too. Again, maybe with some top spin on it. Pirates kicking themselves down. Bottom of the 2nd inning. 2 runs on 0 Cardinal hits.
So Mercer has extended his hitting streak to 8 games. Here's Andrew McCutchen. First pitch is hit out of play for strike 1. McCutchen singled to left on a broken bat base hit. 1 for 1.
I don't know if McCutchen is the most valuable player in the National League this season. He might be. He's going to get a lot of votes, no question about that. But I think you can make a case that he's the most popular player in the National League right now.
You think about the MVP. Bryce Harper's in the conversation. Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Rizzo. By the way, they gave Colton Wong an error on that play. Somebody showed up at the ballpark in a bad mood. That's a tough error. Number 15 on Wong.
Hey, the ballpark is no place to have a bad mood.
I agree. That pitch in the dirt. In about a half hour or so, you'll see that the shadows coming into play. When you have the 3 o'clock starts this late in the season, the shadows do become a factor at the plate. And around 6 o'clock, if we get there, the sun becomes a factor for the second baseman and certainly the right fielder. Slowly hit. Garcia off the mound. Thought about going to second. Gets the short out at first. Follow your favorite team and players all season with MLB.com at Bat, #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat now. There's Jung Ho Gung. Cardinals had interest in him. It's around $30 million. The Pirates signed him for that. And this has turned out to be a tremendous signing that's flown under the radar across Major League Baseball. This guy's a good player. Two outs, runner at second. And the first pitch is strike. Gung grounded out to third his first time up. That's a look inside Ballpark Village, which is just across the street here at Busch Stadium beyond the left field wall. For those of you watching this game nationally and never been to St. Louis, make sure you check out the Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, because Clint Hurdle said, I've been 3 times.
Well, that's one more time than I've been. I live 20 minutes away. I've only been there twice. I mean, long visits, but Clint surprised both of us by saying every time there's something new at the museum, he checks it out.
Said he loves the history of this baseball city, one of the best in the country. The 1-1. Ground ball sharply hit to Long, settles and throws and makes the play. The Pirates strand a runner. That's Jordy Mercer. We head to the home half of the third. It's Major League Baseball on Fox Sports. The Missouri Tobacco Quit line, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. Along with Tim Hayes, Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Cardinals with a 2-0 lead. Now been a scoring change. Piscotty has been given a base hit and then a throwing error on Josh Harrison on that bases loaded chopper that was hit up the middle. Peralta singled off a Gung's glove down at third. His first time up, and yanks that foul past Jose Oquendo, the Cardinals' third base coach. And a high fly ball lifted into right. The shades on, it's Rodriguez. One away. And with one out and nobody on, it brings in Brandon Moss. So with that base hit for Stephen Piscotty, the rookie has now matched John Jay in terms of rookie hitting streaks. It's at 12 games. Jay had 12 back in 2010. Here's Brandon Moss trying to extend his hitting streak to 9. And the shift is on, and I found it incredibly interesting where you're trying to mesh the old school thought with the new wave of baseball and shifts. And what Clint Hurdle was telling us, he said back in 13, I just decided to say, I'm putting all my chips in. We're doing that. There's how you beat the shift as Moss drops down a bunt, a beauty. 9-game hitting streak for Brandon Moss.
Well, we've seen the severe shift against Brandon Moss, and the Pirates giving him the left side of the infield. Gung way off the line. You still have to execute the bunt, however, and Moss gets it down perfectly. No chance for Gung. And Clint's saying that he spends hours on the analytics, especially the defensive analytics, and he's sold. He's sold on the results of them, not just kind of what everybody's telling him should happen, but even analyzing it after the fact. He's sold that he's doing the right things with the shift, and he really began shifting on counts earlier than I've seen any manager in baseball.
They shifted over 400% more times in 2013 than they ever had. So they were losing. They said, all right, we've got to change things up. We do have young players coming up. Let's buy into analytics and the shifts. And the Pirates actually have guys that travel with them. And Clint telling us it's like having another coach in terms of what they do with their defensive alignments.
He said they are a coach. They don't have the skill set that the pitching coach has, but the pitching coach doesn't have the skill set that they have. So they're on par with a coach. We just all talk it through together and come up with the best way to defend.
A separate program to shift on the infield, a separate program to shift on the outfield. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Yadier Molina. Molina looks at a breaking ball, and it evens it up at 1 ball, 1 strike.
The breaking ball of Morton. Again, a 4-pitch pitcher. There's that downward tilt. It's somewhere between a slider and a curve, really. You mentioned earlier, Dan, he has very similar mechanics to Roy Halladay.
And a high fly ball lifted out to left. Starling Marte under it. Makes the catch. Tonight, college football on Fox Sports 1 continues. Dak Prescott leads Mississippi State against Southern Miss at 10 Eastern. Then tomorrow, don't miss a special Sunday edition of college football on Fox Sports 1. Purdue squares off against Marshall at 2:30 Eastern. That's on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Colton Wong, who walked and scored back in the second inning. And they're off the line left side with Colton Wong, and he could slap one the other way. Seen that a number of times from Wong.
Wong still charged with that error in the third inning. I'm not so sure that won't be another scoring change before it's over. Hard hit ball to the backhand.
Here's a 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And again, with 2 strikes now, they shift even more here with Colton Wong. Runner at first is Brandon Moss, and there's a ground ball hit to the right side, taken there by Mercer with the shift in play. And we head to the 4th. 2-0 St. Louis. Consecutive year, but in 1992, their hopes were dashed thanks to Sid Bream. He had the bad knee. Francisco Cabrera, base hit out to left. Andy Van Slyke had told Barry Bonds, who made that throw from left, move in, move in. He's told both of us that story. He did not. And Bream slides in Game 7 to win it. And he beat it by maybe a half step.
Look at some of the players that were in the lineup on that particular Game 7, 1992. Alex Cole, the leadoff hitter. Lloyd McClendon now managing in the big leagues. Andy Van Slyke, one of his coaches in Seattle. And of course, Barry Bonds in the middle of that lineup. That was a terrific Pirates club for multiple years in a row, and really a shame that they didn't kind of finish their job.
There's Starling Marte, who was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd inning, followed by Michael Morse and then Sean Rodriguez, the 0-1. Fouled back, and it's 0-2. So we're talking about the Cardinals and all the shifts that they use and what the Pirates use, defensive metrics, and how a lineup is constructed with both these managers. Clint Hurdle saying, today I'm looking at defense because of Charlie Morton, and Mike Matheny telling us emphatically, I'm thinking offense.
There's a lot of numbers on both of their desks. A lot of reports, a lot of details, and you know, which metrics do you go to? When your team needs to kind of get more runs, you're going to head to the offensive matchups, and in Clint Hurdle's case, he wants somebody to catch the ball.
And the 1-2. And him out in front. So part of the reports that you'll get, positioning, and look at where Matt Carpenter is. That's, 10 years ago, that's where a guy would play late in a game, ninth inning.
Right. Take away the double. Garcia's going to get a lot of ground balls to the left side. I think one of the things you have to think about when you set your defense, outfield defense and infield defense, is the ability of the players involved. It's not just where the hitter hits it, but Does Johnny Peralta go better to his left or to his right? There's Chris Maloney, who sets the outfielders for the Cardinals. So it's more than just what the hitter does. It's playing to the infielders and outfielders' strengths.
Marte seems to be okay. The home plate umpire Gary Cedarstrom, our crew chief, wiping away the dirt on the plate. Let Marte catch his breath. The big gap in left center. The 1-2 swung on and missed, and a strikeout of Starling Marte, and that's 6 this afternoon for Jaime Garcia.
Think about the movement of a Garcia. 3 of the strikeouts have been on pitches where Yadier Molina has to throw to first base. That means he has Pirates chasing. Pitches off the plate. It's all about his movement.
1 out, nobody on. Michael Morse at the plate. Struck out swinging back in the second inning. He's hit .346 since the All-Star break. For the Cardinals, in their perspective, looking at Jaime Garcia, they hold 2 options on him. And you'd have to say most certainly Garcia is coming back to St. Louis at least for 1 more year. How could you not bring him back?
2.03 ERA. Opponents hitting just .213 against Garcia coming into this game.
Hit left side, gloved by Carpenter. High throw to Moss. 2 down. There's a look at John Mozeliak, the Cardinals general manager, senior vice president, and GM.
The exercising of the option of Jaime Garcia is something that Cardinal fans, at least, couldn't have imagined 6 months ago with all the injuries he's had to deal with.
If you would have said to me 6 months ago that Garcia could be the game 1 starter in the playoffs, I would have said you're crazy. He may not even pitch again. And here he is putting up tremendous numbers. .1-0 pitch to Sean Rodriguez. That's hammered out to left. And a 2-out base hit. He's 2 for 2. Keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.TV today. So Rodriguez is 2 for 2, and it brings in Chris Stewart, who struck out back in the second.
2 for 2, but he's 4 for 4 in the last 20 hours. A couple of hits last night. Rodriguez, every time we see him, has a good at-bat.
Further the point about Jaime Garcia and the year that he's put together, since his debut this season, which was at Citi Field in New York, this being his 15th start, but in 14, he had the 4th best ERA in the National League in that time period. Kershaw, Greinke, Arrieta, Jaime Garcia. And someone in that collection I just mentioned will be the Cy Young Award winner. Not Garcia, but we're talking about Kershaw, Greinke, and Arrieta. So 2 outs, a count of 1 ball, no strikes.
Kershaw making a run. Greinke still the front runner as far as I'm concerned. But Arrieta, a guy you don't want to face in a 1-game playoff.
And a ground ball that's hit to Carpenter on a short hop. And he makes the play. Jaime Garcia struck out 6 so far. He's allowed 3 base hits, no runs. Sharp early on in game 2 of this all-important series. Field this afternoon. First start since June 28th. With more on that, downstairs to Jim Hayes.
Dan, 2 stints on the DL and a wrist that never really healed properly after off-season surgery. Been a frustrating year for John Jay. Came off the DL yesterday. Last night he was introduced after coming off the bench. Got a standing ovation. He told me, quote, for the fans to do that was just amazing. He said he'll never forget that moment. He told me this has been the most frustrating season of his career. He says he got through all the rehab by staying positive and just taking it day by day. Dan, he told me the grind of rehab was made easier by 2 things. 1, the team was winning, and 2, he knew he'd make it back. Dan, he has.
Jim told us yesterday, Dan, about how much he spent hours and hours and hours during that rehab talking with Jose Oquendo and other coaches and continuing to learn. And that's part of how you get through it, too. And that's part of the staying positive is take advantage of that opportunity to talk baseball and learn.
Both these teams will have very, very tough decisions coming up with their postseason rosters if and when they get there. Both teams getting healthier. The Cardinals, Jay here. Adams could be there. Matt Holliday, Randall Grichuk. You look on the other side. Pittsburgh has tough decisions as well, as Jay is out in front and strikes out. Mentioned this earlier. Ray Searage, the pitching coach of the Pirates, at his suggestion to Charlie Morton, said, well, let's change the arm slot. Let's change the angle on the sinker. Who do you like? He said, Roy Halladay. Well, you have a Roy Halladay imitation here on the right with Charlie Morton.
Now, as we look at them side by side, they don't begin their motion the same way, but about halfway through, everything they do is the same. Halladay would go over his head. Morton just stays at the belt, but very similar delivery, very similar finish. I have great respect for Ray, former teammate a couple of places for me, and former Cardinal minor leaguer, played with the Dodgers, the White Sox at the big league level. I just think he's a terrific pitching coach.
Think about some of the reclamation projects that they have had. Francisco Liriano comes to mind, ultimately, who has been just outstanding for them. But just finding a way to get Charlie Morton, change the arm angle, and it's extended his career as Garcia lines it out to right, and the catch is made. Oh, what a play by Sean Rodriguez in right. And that may be the one tonight on Fox Sports Live.
Even the Cardinal fans here have to applaud that play. Of course, the Pirate fans present do as well. Rodriguez, the best fielding first baseman for the Pirates, but here he shows what he can do in the outfield. Very acrobatic play. Didn't get a great jump on it. That's one of the plays that outfielders will always talk about. The line drive hit right at you. You don't quite know where to go first, but he showed his vertical and his athleticism.
Now the shadows are a factor here at the plate. Pitcher in the sunshine, the hitters in the shade. 2 outs, nobody on, and that pitch taken for a strike by Matt Carpenter. We're back to the top of the lineup.
Lance Berkman, the first Cardinal to really bring up here at this ballpark how difficult it is to hit in late afternoon at Busch Stadium, and we have seen a number of games at this ballpark over the past few years where we're sitting right here in the 4th inning, and the next thing you know, it's the 9th inning, and there hasn't been a hit since the 4th inning for either team. It's not unusual. Pitchers get on a roll, the relief pitchers come in and are lights out, and the players after the game will complain about the shadow.
I just wonder, too, with Rodriguez, the sunshine. I mentioned earlier how a right fielder does battle it around this time, especially when you get around 5:30 Central Time, 6 o'clock. It can be very difficult. As Carpenter strikes out, chased a ball. So, with that strikeout, it's 2 in the inning for Charlie Morton. Outstanding catch in right field. Sean Rodriguez, what a play. St. Louis on top. Pirates. Next Saturday, MLB on Fox returns with the AL East leading Blue Jays taking on the wild card leading Yankees. Or the NL Central leading Cardinals battling the Reds, or Royals and Orioles. Then it's a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Tigers and Indians. Coverage begins next Saturday, 12:30 Eastern on Fox, 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. First pitch to start the fifth is a strike to Charlie Morton. Toronto began the day with a half-game lead over the Yankees. Kansas City running away with the American League Central. 13 games in front of Minnesota. Houston, 3 in front of Texas. 3.5 in front of Los Angeles. 1 ball, 1 strike on Morton.
Garcia with 6 strikeouts through 4 innings. And just 1 ball hit into the outfield. 1 out in the outfield. That came in the first. So classic distribution of outs for Jaime Garcia. 5 ground outs, 1 fly ball out.
It's one way to stay cool. That's right down the middle, and a strikeout of Charlie Morton. 7 this afternoon. 7 strikeouts for Garcia.
Shadows again coming into play here in the middle innings. The strikeout of Matt Carpenter, Dan, to end the 4th inning was the kind of swing we see with these conditions. It kind of waved at a pitch away from him as if he didn't really pick it up.
Here's a top of the lineup, and Josh Harrison, who is 0 for 2. Couple of strikeouts. You just see a lot of swings that aren't comfortable.
Defensive. Emergency hacks.
Late, too.
Bail and wail, all kinds of terms for him.
Nice play, Colton Wong. He was near the bag at second base, and Josh Harrison is hitless in 3 plate appearances. Love the drink run with any size, any flavor McCafe shake for just $1.99, only at McDonald's. The Pirates trying to win their first series win at Busch Stadium since April of 2013. Cardinals have won 7 straight series at home against Pittsburgh. Two outs and nobody on for Jordy Mercer, who's 1 for 2. You look at both bullpens, and guys are starting to stretch a little bit. This is the time in the game when the focus changes for those guys out in the bullpen.
What might be my situation? Who pitched yesterday? Who's hot for today? Both clubs with extra arms in the bullpen with the September call-ups, so it may be reshuffled a bit. The expectation for both Mike Matheny and Clint Hurdle would be to go to their A guys in this series, however. And for the Pirates, it's clearly Watson and Melanson if you can keep the game close. And for the Cardinals, it's Segrist and Trevor Rosenthal.
The 2-2. Garcia gets another strikeout. 2 in the inning, 8 through 5. Cardinals on top, 2-0. Hurd makes his debut on FS1. The most unique voice in sports is back on the air. The Herd with Colin Cowherd premieres Tuesday at noon Eastern, only on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Smart sports talk, finally. Two, 3, and 4 in the lineup for St. Louis against Charlie Morton. And Piscotty lifts a fly ball into shallow right. Rodriguez over near the line to put it away. One pitch, one out. Charlie Morton has gone winless in his last 10 starts in St. Louis. And against the Cardinals, his last win was St. Louis and in this ballpark April 4th of 2011.
It's been a long time for Charlie Morton, but we did talk about his good game here last year. He got a no decision, however. It came on the 7th of July. 7 scoreless innings against St. Louis here at Busch Stadium about 12 months ago, but couldn't get any runs.
That lineup that day that Morton faced in early April of 2011, which wound up being a world championship year, featured Ryan Theriot, Colby Rasmus, who was traded by the end of the season, Albert Pujols, Lance Berkman, Alan Craig, who has spent the majority of this season in the minor leagues with Boston, David Freese, who's now at the Angels, Molina, who's here, Skip Schumacher is in Cincinnati, and Kyle Loesch, who's toiling with Milwaukee.
The constant, Yadier Molina.
1-2 pitch. Misses in to Hayward. You think about this great run the Cardinals have had. Right in the middle of it has been some of the premier defensive catchers in the game. Mike Matheny, Yadier Molina. Matheny 4 Gold Gloves, 3 of them won with the Cardinals. And then in 2004, by the end of the season, it was Molina taking Matheny's job. A ground ball that's rolled over to first and stays fair. More steps on the bag for the out.
Something that Mike constantly preaches. Make sure that you're helping younger players get better so maybe they will take your job. And his belief is that in the long run, that's going to come back positively to you. He can't explain it, but he says, look, it just does. That's what teammates do. And it's all about the chemistry in the clubhouse. And chemistry was the word that Clint Hurdle used with us today to talk about how he's going to manage having too many players that ought to be starting right now. We've got Aramis Ramirez now in the mix, as well as Harrison and Mercer back, and somebody's got to sit.
He said, I'm asking my players to be selfless.
Right.
Buy into what we're doing. There's a look at Ramirez, who's had a tremendous career, 18 years in the big leagues, and an absolute St. Louis Cardinals killer. He has put up Hall of Fame numbers against the Cardinals.
And with that kind of resume, he deserved the conversation he got from Clint today, explaining why he's not in the lineup today.
They've also been working him out over at first base to try to get him in with different scenarios defensively. Find him at bats. On a hop hit to short, taken there by Jordy Mercer, deep in the hole, and lets it fly in a 1-2-3 inning for Charlie Morton, who is settled in and set down 8 straight. 2-0 as we head to the 6th. The Pirates and the Cardinals tomorrow. Very good pitching matchup. Garrett Cole 15-8. John Lackey 11-8. The Chicago Cubs will be here on Monday. Note the start time on Fox Sports Midwest locally 12:30. Then a night game and then noon on Wednesday. And for the Pirates, they'll have to travel after the game tomorrow night. Head to Cincinnati for a 1 o'clock start Labor Day on Monday. They've got Cincinnati left on this long road trip they're on, and then they go back home. 4 with Milwaukee, 3 with Chicago, and then a very tough road trip for the Pirates. Their final road trip of the regular season. As McCutchen falls behind 0-2, that will include LA, Colorado for 4, and then at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Very tough to win at Coors Field. We know how good the Dodgers can be, and you think about how important those games will be for the Pirates. That's going to be a tough road trip.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to McCutchen. And he strikes out. Again, those swings that you were talking about with the shadows playing a major factor, it looks like, here in the late afternoon in the Midwest. By the way, that Chicago series you see on the 15th, 16th, and 17th, that will also include a doubleheader. So it's 4 with the Cubs to wrap up their road portion of their schedule.
This is the next 3 weeks of the season for the Pirates. There'll be a week following that. And then we'll be talking about postseason. It'll be here before we know it.
Jung hits it in the air and pops it up. Colton Wong is there for out number 2. How about Jaime Garcia here this afternoon? He has struck out 9. And only 3 hits allowed.
Well, you mentioned Morton has retired 8 straight. Garcia has given up just 1 hit since the 2nd inning. And again, it's the middle innings here at Busch Stadium with the shadows in play. And it's also pitchers making good pitches. I especially notice when pitchers will use their off-speed pitches. Curveballs just so tough to pick up the spin. You get a lot of strikeouts in the middle innings here.
Marte's been hit by a pitch and struck out back in the 4th. And the 0-1. Reaches for it, left side. Carpenter gets the speedy Marte in a 1-2-3 inning. 5-pitch inning for Jaime Garcia. 2-0 midway through 6. Pittsburgh Pirates, home half of the 6 rolls in from Busch Stadium. Our difference maker, presented by BJC Healthcare. current 9-game hitting streak with his bunt base hit earlier this afternoon. That's Brandon Moss, and he has provided a spark recently for the Cardinals.
Very comfortable at the plate, understanding the strike zone, and I think swinging with more authority. Driving the baseball. When he first came to the Cardinals from Cleveland, he was hitting a lot of fly balls to the warning track, wasn't quite letting it go, and now he's airing out his swing. And he hit the longest home run by a left-hander at this ballpark ever earlier in the week.
454 feet. That pitch taken inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cubs win today over Arizona 2-0. Jake Arrieta, the first 18-game winner in the National League. 8 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, coming off the no-hitter against the Dodgers last Sunday. 1-2. And a 1-2. Ground ball hit to the right side. Jordy Mercer, the shortstop with the shift on, makes the play. Tonight, college football on Fox Sports 1. Mississippi State against Southern Miss at 10 Eastern. Then tomorrow, don't miss a special Sunday edition of college football on Fox Sports 1. Purdue squares off against Marshall at 2:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 9 in a row set down by Charlie Morton. Molina on the first pitch, pops it foul. And remember, the Cardinals picked up their first 2 runs on what could have been an inning ground out that nearly hit the bag at second base with the bases loaded, that scored 2 on a ball that got away from Michael Morris on a throw by Harrison.
Originally ruled a 2-base error, changed to an infield hit for Piscotty, and then an error on the throw for Harrison. But defense always critical when you've got pitchers featuring sinker ball. Pitching and defense always go together.
The Pirates 1-7 at Busch Stadium when Morton starts. Lifted into right field. Rodriguez is there for out number 2. His ERA 6.38 at Busch Stadium at the start of play. You wouldn't know it watching him pitch this afternoon. That's 10 in a row.
More flyouts for Morton than we saw from Jaime Garcia, but certainly has induced his share of ground balls, 8 of them.
Go back to 1914. 27 pitchers have had streaks of 10 or more starts against the Cardinals without a win. Morton is on that list. 2 Pirates broadcasters have done that as well, ironically enough. Bob Walk and Steve Blass. And you know, Morton and the Pirates would love to change that here this afternoon.
I'm sure Steve and Walkie would be glad to hear that.
Sorry, guys. 2 of our favorites, too.
I know. You tell him.
Steve Blass, by the way, was connecting with Rick Ankiel. Both had suffered instances in which they, and there's Bob Walk, but Steve Blass, who is a tremendous pitcher and a control pitcher, too.
Yes.
Lost his control just like Rick Ankiel did when he was on the mound. Rick is writing a book about that, and those two about a month and a half ago got together in Pittsburgh as Wong draws the walk. And Steve was telling us he had told Rick Ankiel things that he had never even told his wife as they went down memory lane of things that were brought up that only those 2 would fully understand.
And it was really interesting to hear Rick Ankiel's side of the conversation with Steve Blass, because he felt all along, he knew that Steve Blass had gone through that, but he had never really been able to approach him to talk about it while he was going through it. It's just a very difficult thing to understand, a difficult thing for somebody to help you with. You kind of work through it yourself, and you just don't even know how to share it. So he knew Blass was a potential help to him, but here years later, those 2 finally talking about it. I think it's a great story, and Rick's goal as he's now working for the Washington Nationals, helping young players with performance-related issues, that he can maybe get some principles from his conversations with many others who've gone through it and maybe get it in a book to help them out.
Steve says he knows probably before anybody else around the country when somebody loses control, whether it's an infielder or a catcher throwing back to the pitcher. Certainly pitchers, he says his phone just starts to ring off the hook. People wanting comments about it, what happens, why does it happen? And he said, if I knew how it happened or why, it wouldn't have happened to me. I would have been able to stop it. A tremendous human being. He's a great guy. Here's John Jay, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Struck out back in the 4th.
One of my first games I did of Cardinal baseball on the radio was in Minnesota, and Mike Matheny was the catcher at the time for the Cardinals, and Mike was surprised to see me at the game. He didn't know I was doing it, and he said, "Are you here to help out Rick?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, well, you're the only person in this ballpark who's not, because we got about 100 other people here trying to help him." I mean, it's just a difficult thing to help somebody with. You don't know whether you're over-coaching, over-encouraging, whether you leave them alone. You're just not quite sure how to help them.
2 outs, runner at first. Let's see if the Cardinals may want to do a little running here. The only problem with that, he gets to second. You could walk Jay with the pitcher on deck. Deal with Garcia. Nothing in 2, the count on John Jay. The Pirates will have Morse, Rodriguez, and Stewart coming up. Mitch Harris is getting loose in the pen. Cardinal right-hander. And a strikeout of Jay. Six in the books. 2-0 St. Louis. Top of the 7th, Major League Baseball on Fox Sports. That's recording. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes also with us, and it's been pitching here today.
We've seen so many well-pitched games here at Busch Stadium all summer long, and today is no exception. Charlie Morton, Jaime Garcia are on, especially Garcia with his 9 strikeouts. He's 1 away, Dan, from a career high as he goes back out for the 7th inning.
That career high was set the first time. He's done it twice. August 19th of 2012. Ran into a little trouble in the first inning. Pitched out of a jam with 2 runners on in the second inning. And since that second inning, the Pirates have not gotten a man to second base.
Well, if you ask the Cardinals outfielders if they have struggled this afternoon with the sun, their answers would all be, I don't know, because no balls have been hit out here. Just one. Actually, that was Jordy Mercer in the first inning, and everything else has been in the infield for Garcia, either a strikeout or a groundout. That's one way to deal with the sun. Keep it on the ground.
Well, I'm going to further your point, and I agree with you, because you were mentioning earlier the defensive swings that we have seen, and in particular late swings. It just tells you major league hitters aren't picking the ball up.
Yeah, the middle innings, especially the shadows. It'll get better in maybe an inning or two. The breaking balls especially tough to pick up the spin.
Good indication on that last pitch. The soft hands of Yadier Molina, considered the game's best defender potentially of any position. And it has been gold glove after gold glove for Yadier Molina. A couple of platinum gloves along the way as well.
And a couple of good teachers. One of them, his manager, Mike Matheny. Another, the legendary Dave Ricketts. One of the great coaches of all time. I remember Dave telling me early one spring training, he said, I've got a young kid you're not going to believe. And he said his name, Yadier Molina, which was foreign to me at the time, but isn't now. And he said, what I like most about him is that aside from his talent is the fact that he loves to work. And if you're going to be a catcher and win a gold glove, you better like to work.
For those that follow the Cardinals day in and day out, spring training, Molina and Matt Carpenter are there literally at 5 in the morning. It is pitch black dark, and they're there working out. They're in the cage and putting in the time. Three-two pitch. Ground ball left side. Carpenter, one away. Michael Morse 0 for 3. The Gold Glove winners behind the plate since 2000. Molina, a big part of this list, along with Mike Matheny, Brad Ausmus, the Detroit manager, Russell Martin, the connection to the Pirates, outstanding catcher now with Toronto, won that Gold Glove with the Dodgers. If you added up the current players and their Gold Gloves behind home plate, it still would not add up to the 7 that Molina has won.
That, of course, in the National League, and two of those players now managing in Major League Baseball, Ausmus and Matheny, and maybe the other two future managers.
The trend in baseball has been to go with guys that have no managerial experience but do have the connection to the modern day player, and they're all catchers. 0-1 pitch. Hit out of play.
Almost not fair to say they have no managerial experience because they get it every single day. It's different when you're a teammate, I understand, but Yadi's in the middle of so many team meetings. All catchers are.
And where they see the field, too. And in every pitch. Here's an 0-2 to Sean Rodriguez. Rodriguez is 2 for 2. Has 2 of the 3 Pirates hits. Pitch count at 93 for Jaime Garcia. And that is hammered down the left field line, sinking and off the wall. Dug out by Piscotty. Sean Rodriguez 3 for 3, and the tying run will come to the plate for Pittsburgh. First man at second base for the Buccos since the second inning.
Now 5 for 5 in this series, and he is hitting rockets. Gets the bat head out on this delivery. Garcia tried to get it in. It wasn't in enough. And Rodriguez turns on it. Off the bat, I thought it might be a home run, but it was a bit of a sinking liner. Ball's carrying very well here at Busch Stadium over the last few weeks.
Now Chris Stewart Aramis Ramirez has grabbed a bat, moved in the on-deck circle. And speaking of managing, one guy that is managing along with Clint Hurdle, with Mike Matheny, the Cardinals bench coach, third-generation major leaguer, that's David Bell. Those two both keep notes, and then after the game they'll compare it and say, well, what would you have done here? What would you have done here? Garcia has the man hung up, but Rodriguez back to the bag at second. He gets the shore out, and there's 2 down. The best seats at every ballpark for every game. Visit MLB.com/tickets today.
Smart decision for Garcia to take the sure out and to follow up on David Bell. They have that meeting after every game, talk through every decision about what happened, what worked, what didn't work, and Mike's sharing with us that he and David are exhausted by the end of the day because they think through all the permutations and the opportunities that have happened, and they self-assess, and David's as involved in everything that Mike does. Now Mike's making the decisions, but Dave's along with it. Even the decisions involving pitching changes, of course he's going to consult with and rely heavily upon Derek Lilliquist, but David Bell knows the thought process, preparing for that next level of managing himself.
Ramirez pinch hitting here for Charlie Morton. And Aramis Ramirez leads all active players in hits, home runs, RBIs against the Cardinals. Next closest is a St. Louis native, Ryan Howard of the Phillies. Aramis made his major league debut May 26, 1998. He was a 19-year-old. He has spent his entire major league career inside the National League Central Division. Pirates signed him in 1994. Came up in 98. Parts of 6 seasons with the Pirates before they traded him to the Cubs. 3-time All-Star and has had an outstanding major league career.
Always thought that he was a good low ball hitter. You could get him with good breaking balls, but he's going to hit the hanger. And the Cardinals have certainly thrown him some hangers over the years.
Just to finish your point about David Bell, and I love what Mike Matheny said. He said, one thing you have to understand, he is not a yes man.
Right.
He challenges me, and I like that.
If he's a yes man, he's of no help to Mike Matheny.
Very detailed is David Bell. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tying run at the plate. The next 2, Aramis Ramirez. Instead, Garcia wants to talk. Final line on Charlie Morton. 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits. Walked 3, struck out 3. Hit a man in 89 total pitches today.
Interesting, there are conversations going on the mound, but John Jay called over the left fielder Stephen Piscotty too to have a conversation with him. Always opportunities to communicate. Jay and Piscotty now breaking up, and John Jay wanting to make sure Piscotty was in the right position, number 1.
Caminero, the hard thrower, the right-hander for Pittsburgh, getting loose in their pen.
And one of the other thoughts here is there's a base hit to left field, and this may be part of the conversation. You throw home, do you allow the runner, the tying run, to get to second base or not? That may have been the reminder. Just speculating, but it makes sense from John Jay.
2-1 pitch. The Cardinals have said that they think Piscotty is more comfortable in left field as opposed to right field, where he has primarily played.
Tight spin again from Garcia. Swinging over the top is Ramirez. Piscotty has the arm of a right fielder, but seems to see the ball off the bat better in left at this point.
The 2-2. This will be the final inning of work for Jaime Garcia. Due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th. 2-0 St. Louis. They scored 2 in the 2nd inning, and that's been it today. The 2-2. Molina can't find the baseball, fires to third, and saved. Rodriguez took a chance.
Matt Carpenter claiming that perhaps the runner Rodriguez came off the bag, pointing to his foot. Now Mike Matheny wants to go out and have a conversation with our third base umpire, Eric Cooper. Maybe give his staff a chance to look at this to see whether or not that's something they'll challenge. There's David Bell, and he wants a challenge.
That third base umpire is a longtime Major League umpire, Eric Cooper. And it looks like he's saying that Carpenter forced him off the bag. Watch his left foot matched up with Carpenter's right foot, but I'm not so sure that argument would fly.
Carpenter pointing to his foot off the base. Perhaps Cooper saying just what you said. And they may be discussing whether or not this play is going to be reviewable or not. I think Cooper may be saying just what you said. He pushed him off. And regardless of whether he did or not, it seems to me it's reviewable. I believe that's the conversation.
Gary Cederstrom is the crew chief involved in this conversation as well.
So there's 2 points. Is he off the bag right now as Carpenter has the tag on him and points to the foot? And then the second question is, did Matt Carpenter push him off the bag?
This potentially is a huge call in this game when you think about the numbers of Aramis Ramirez and his home run potential. One swing could tie it up. Now Clint Hurdle visiting with both umpires.
And Clint, I'm sure, asking the same question, is this reviewable or not? You've got the call on the field. You say that he pushed him off the bag. How are we going to tell via the replay or different looks whether or not Carpenter actually pushed him off the bag or not? We'll find out. And you're right, this could be a very key play in this game. Tying run at the plate in the 7th inning. The Cardinals have their 8th and 9th inning bullpen guys ready to go, and this is their last shot at Jaime Garcia.
Maybe bigger picture, looking at the play, why is Rodriguez running anyway? Tying run at the plate, and the dangerous Aramis Ramirez a chance to have it with one swing of the bat.
Sure don't want to take the bat out of his hand.
I think what's going to be interesting is finding out after the game as to whether or not that play was indeed reviewable. Now, they were on the phone to New York, but were they getting confirmation as to whether or not it is or is not? Rarely do you see that play. Regardless, the count runs full. It's 3-2 on Aramis Ramirez. This crowd comes alive. The 3-2 pitch. He walked him. Kevin Segrist had been throwing in the pen for St. Louis, the hard-throwing lefty.
Pirates will have a pinch runner for Ramirez.
That's the first walk issued by Garcia. Pedro Florman is the pinch runner. He's a switch hitter, by the way. So he's your runner at first base. They still have 3 bats from the left side, 2 from the right side. Here's Harrison, who struck out twice, also lined out. 0 for 3 and a check on Florimon. Garcia had 104 pitches. First pitch taken for a strike.
Harrison had a good at-bat in the 5th against Garcia after a couple of strikeouts. Jaime trying to finish strong. Harrison trying to finish off Garcia in a different way.
One ball, one strike. If you're wondering, Florimon at first base, no steals. One ball, two strikes. The 1-2. Ground ball chopped up the middle. And Peralta beats Florimon to the bag at second base. Jaime Garcia, 7 innings today. Time to stretch here in St. Louis. Percentage leaders: Piscotty, Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs, and Jung Ho Gung of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Head to DraftKings.com. Enter the promo code CARDS along with Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Archimedes Caminero, his 60th appearance. Hard throwing righty.
Clint Hurdle loves this right-hander, thinks he's got a big upside, has a big fastball, can throw upper 90s, and is learning how to pitch actually a few miles an hour less than that. Found that he's getting a little more sink action, but getting more and more important innings, and this certainly is one of them. Still a close game, 2-0. The Pirates and the Cardinals, by the way, Dan, have played an extraordinarily high number of close games this season, both of them.
Greg Garcia, your pinch hitter for Jaime Garcia. Greg is 5 for 16 as a pinch hitter.
Garcia for Garcia.
Gateway Honda home run inning. The Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers of St. Louis donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jaime Garcia, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, struck out 9. 108 pitches. He was 1 shy of his career high in strikeouts. Pulled foul. If the Cardinals can hold on, they'd pick up win number 8 for Jaime Garcia here today. Very important game. The Pirates is 5.5 back of St. Louis, with Garrett Cole going tomorrow. And if you're the Pirates, you're not only chasing the St. Louis Cardinals, but you're also thinking about the Chicago Cubs. Cubs began 4 games back of Pittsburgh today.
Garrett Cole coming off a rough start where he allowed 5 runs in 4 innings. Normally when the Cardinals have seen Cole, he's been outstanding.
3-2 pitch and a leadoff walk for Greg Garcia. AT&T U-verse Rewind and a look at Jaime Garcia. 9 strikeouts here today. Pitched out of trouble in the 2nd inning. No runs allowed. Movement, movement, movement.
7 innings of work and 1 fly ball into the outfield.
Matt Carpenter a single to center field. He walked in the 2nd inning. Struck out in the 4th. Garcia, your runner at first base. You don't think of Greg Garcia being much of a stolen base threat. And as we say that, Peter Borges checks in the game. You love Borges' speed. You don't love the fact that he's been caught stealing as much as he has been this year. He's one of the fastest players in all of baseball. But Borges with 5 steals, caught 7 times. 7.
His problems have been with his first step. Working on trying to get that good jump. There are times where that first step is almost in place. It's not going anywhere. It's almost backwards in a way. Instead of a base stealer getting that first step towards the bag, driving low to the ground, getting to full speed as quickly as possible, Borges sometimes just doesn't get that quickness that we know he has. It's in there.
Here's a 1-0. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball into deep left center field. McCutchen looks up, opposite way. Carpenter, 2-run homer, number 21, and a 4-0 St. Louis lead.
Pitch middle. Carpenter showing power the other way.
Piscotty out to center field. McCutchen back. Oh, and he makes a catch. What a play by Andrew McCutchen. What a play moments ago there by Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah, the Gold Glover in center. Ball hit right over his head. Turned the wrong way, but made up for it with his speed. That ball smoked by Piscotty.
And now Jason Hayward, who's hitless in 3 plate appearances.
Think about the year of Matt Carpenter, Dan, the ebbs and the flows of a Major League Baseball player's season. He's had some moments here in 2015 where he couldn't buy a hit. And then had some streaks where he was driving the ball. At one point in the season, Mike Matheny giving him a whole series off as the team was heading to Pittsburgh because he thought he needed to rest. Didn't even go on the trip. And yet you look at the numbers of Carpenter. 71 RBIs, 21 home runs out of that leadoff spot.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The last leadoff man to lead his club in home runs and RBIs, 2012, Jimmy Rollins did that with the Phillies. Two strikes on Hayward. Bounces it to the right side. Mercer with the shift for out number 2. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photos to the hashtag MWDataStrongFan. Presented by T-Mobile, a look at Cardinals Nation here in St. Louis. Caminero came in, faced Garcia. Walked him. Borges pinch ran for Greg Garcia, and the 2-run homer opposite way for Matt Carpenter, number 21.
There's a lot of ways for pitchers to change speeds, Dan. They can do it from pitch to pitch, a variety of pitches. Another thing they can do is quick pitch. Jason Hayward a little late on that swing because Caminero just kind of just went with it. Didn't really go through his normal windup, and nothing illegal about that. If pitching is throwing off a hitter's timing, that's exactly what Caminero did.
One is bounced to third. The Cardinals pick up a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 7th off the bat of leadoff man Matt Carpenter. Now with 21, he's driven in 71 for nothing. St. Louis. Charlie Morton, the starter for the Pirates, 6 innings, 4 hits, gave up a couple of runs, only 1 was earned. Sean Rodriguez, big day at the plate, 3 for 3 for the Buccos. Jaime Garcia, 9 strikeouts, and Matt Carpenter moments ago with his 21st home run this year. 4-0 St. Louis. That's a look at your Mazda game summary.
Let's go back and look at this play at third base. This involved Sean Rodriguez, and there was a challenge on this play, and we just got the official rule, and it was as we suspected, Dan. They were not able to challenge whether or not Carpenter pushed Rodriguez off the base. That part was not challengeable, only whether he was safe initially or not. So that's what the Cardinals were challenging. It went the Pirates' way, as he was certainly safe. The slide, that's where the challenge was, but not the subsequent pushing off the bag.
0-2 on Jordy Mercer. New pitcher in is Kevin Segrist. There's a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal. Peter Borges, by the way, stays in the game in center field.
Going to get a lot of fastballs from Kevin Segrist.
Been 4 days since he last pitched. There's your fastball at 95, and Mercer down on strikes. Kevin Segrist, part of our Chevrolet call to the pen. Look at those appearances starting to really rack up for a hard-throwing lefty. This isn't your situational lefty. This is a guy that can get lefties or righties out. He can close games out, and already 67 appearances.
Cardinals are going to use Kevin Segrist the way the Pittsburgh Pirates use Tony Watson. They're going to use both of these guys in the 8th innings of games, regardless of whether left-handers or right-handers coming to the plate. Watson can just be dominating no matter who he's facing, and Segrist is not necessarily a guy that throws a lot of breaking balls, which would be the dominating pitch to left-handers. He's just fastball changeup for the most part.
0-1 pitch to McCutchen. 95 again. 2 years ago for the Cardinals, it literally was one of the greatest seasons ever a reliever has had in Cardinals history.
And that's not hyperbole. That is fact.
ERA just over 1. Tons of appearances. The 0-2. McCutchen pops it up. Molina will give it a look, and it's out of play in this big crowd. Another sellout here today at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. 45,139 as the Cardinals officially go over 3 million in attendance today. Here's the 0-2 and a ground ball to short. Peralta has to hurry up. Just gets McCutchen by his step. 2 down. With the home run hit by Matt Carpenter in the 7th, he helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
A couple of good things going on that very simple ground ball to short. You've got McCutchen hustling all the way down the line. You love to see that, but you've also got Johnny Peralta positioning himself and getting the hop that he knows he needs to get to be able to throw out McCutchen.
Jung Ho Gung, pair of ground outs, and also popped out to second. I think it's pretty clear in watching Segrist here, he needed the rest. He looks sharp.
He sure does.
That'll be one of the things both these managers will work on and try to massage, if they can, when and where to give a pitcher, position player, everyday player some rest before heading into postseason.
And when Segrist is tired, I don't think you see diminished velocity necessarily, as that pitch could have been called a strike. Bottom of the zone. So it's not velocity, but it's life on the fastball. When he's rested, the ball just hops.
I think it's pretty safe to assume the Cardinals, Pittsburgh, Chicago, all the teams that hail from the Central, these three headed to postseason play. Combined winning percentage of .605. Last time a division had that kind of winning percentage with 3 teams, Oakland, Anaheim, Seattle. And that was all the way back in 2002. Anaheim wound up winning the World Series that year. Strike one on Starling Marte. Third place team had 93 wins that year. Here's an 0-1. Now it's 0-2. The 0-2 pitch to Starling Marte. Swung on and missed. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Kevin Segrist. Midway through 8. Cardinals on top. 4-0. Make a plan to make it home. And by 4. Our crowd just over 45,000 here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Major League Baseball on Fox Sports. 4-0 St. Louis. Home half of the 8th rolls in. And Rick, a new pitcher is in for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's Joe Blanton.
Done a nice job with the Pirates. Appearance number 11 here this afternoon. Not an overpowering guy out of the bullpen. He's been a starter in his career. Just an extra weapon for Clint Hurdle, and he'll try to keep this game close. It'll be interesting to see how the Cardinals handle the 9th inning. Trevor Rosenthal, the closer, but now a 4-0 lead. You normally don't use your closer, but we haven't seen Trevor in a couple of days.
So Trevor Rosenthal is getting loose in the pen, and here is Brandon Moss. And the first pitch is taken low for a ball. Moss beat the shift back in the 3rd inning when he bunted towards the third base side. Swings through that pitch. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember, Joe Blanton was part of that rotation that was considered at the time one of the great ones in the history of the game. Roy Halladay, Oswalt was there, Hamels, Cliff Lee. And that was with the Philadelphia Phillies. One ball and 2 strikes on Brandon Moss. And that swung on and missed, and a strikeout as we start play here in the home half of the 8th.
Impressive that the Cardinal pitchers have handled this Pirate lineup here this afternoon, especially when you consider what the Pirates did here last night. 9 runs on 17 hits. But Jaime Garcia, another terrific outing. He's trying to win, by the way, Dan, his 50th career game. Career record of 49-30, in line for the victory if the Cardinals can finish it. But just 4 hits today for Pittsburgh.
Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes on Yadier Molina. Molina is grounded out to short, fly to left, and also flied out to right. Cardinals picked up 2 runs in the second, then 2 with 1 swing of the bat of Matt Carpenter. 2-run homer, his 21st of the year. Here's a 1-2. Broken bat that stays fair. Rolling to Michael Morse. A flip to Blanton for out number 2. And it brings in the second baseman, Colton Wong, who walked and scored back in the second. He's grounded out to second and also walked in the 6th.
You get to the right-handers in the Cardinals bullpen and you start thinking about the left-handers available for the Pirates, including Gregory Blanco, the veteran Neil Walker, Pedro Alvarez, all available. As the Pirates are getting close to the bottom of their order, we may see all 3 of them in the ninth.
Travis Snyder came off the bench from the left side last night and picked up a double that scored 2. 2 outs, 1 ball, no strikes, nobody on for Colton Wong. 4-0 St. Louis. Wong hits it the other way and a base hit. And the Cardinals pop from the right side will come off the bench, and this is Mark Reynolds. Cardinals this year have used, I would say, Reynolds more than they wanted to in that starting lineup with the injury to Matt Adams. This was more of the role and vision for him coming off the bench. Wong is stealing and a throw down to second base and in there safely. Colton Wong with the steal. That's number 15.
Nice jump for Wong. Stays low, like we talked about earlier, and slides straight to the bag. He's become a better base stealer as time has gone on here at the big league level. Now a chance for an RBI for Reynolds, who has a 9-game hitting streak on the line. So playing less, but producing more.
The fine line of how much you can sit a player, and that is read very nicely there by Wong as the ball scooted away. Diving in head first into third base. The Cardinals trying to generate 1 more run.
All about anticipation. You see the ball in the dirt, you've got to go right away. And why not take the extra base?
It's a wild pitch charged to Joe Blanton. And a 1-1. Popped up. Is it playable? Morse is over near the Cardinals dugout, off the top of the dugout and into the seats.
And it's always true that speed creates stress. Think about the Cardinals teams of the 80s with Vince Coleman and Willie McGee. Even think about the Pirates teams of the early 90s. They had speed on their team as well. Bonds, Van Slyke. A lot of power as well in those particular clubs, but speed makes pitchers nervous.
1-2 the count. Well, you think about it from the Pirates' perspective, when they get McCutchen on, and again, he's not stolen a lot of bases this year, but certainly Starling Marte, Harrison a threat, just puts a lot of pressure. Two and two to count. Wong the runner at third base. And the next two, Reynolds. That's a pitch when you see Reynolds maybe wearing down a bit with Chase, swing through. He'll have his fair share of strikeouts, but also his fair share of home runs. Broxton getting loose for the non-save situation. Rosenthal ready for a save opportunity. Let's chop foul. Three-two pitch. Good at bat by Reynolds as Wong thought about coming to the plate. And it's a 2-out walk. Extends the inning to Peter Borges. This copyrighted telecast is presented by Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Along with Jim Hayes and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Peter Borges came in as a pinch runner for Greg Garcia after he walked to start the 2-run seventh inning for St. Louis and scored on the home run by Carpenter. Runners at first and third. And Borges on the first pitch pops it up. Giving chase. Out of play, Mercer. Follow your favorite team and players all season with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, and more. 0-2 on Peter Borges. And the 0-2. Borges lines it into center field, but McCutchen is there. Cardinals strand 2. St. Louis heads back to their bullpen. We'll try to wrap up game 2 when we come back. Larkia in the driver's seat. As Rick mentioned, not only tight games between these two, but also these two teams figure out how to come from behind. The Cardinals 38 come from behind wins. Pirates right behind them. They'll try to do so here against one of the game's best in Trevor Rosenthal.
So Mike Matheny deciding to go to his closer instead of bringing in Broxton until a save situation materializes. He felt that he just wanted to go for the kill right away with Rosenthal. He's our Chevy call to the bullpen. 42 out of 44 in save opportunities. And he has been extremely consistent in 2015. Much more so than a year ago. And he was good then too, but more consistent this year.
Had his issues at home last year. That has not been the case here in 2015. So Michael Morse, first pitch, takes a ball.
And a new father. Second child born about a week or so ago. Missed the trip to San Francisco. Good to have him back.
And the 1-0. As you mentioned, Rosenthal with 42 saves. Melanson with 43. Familia of the Mets at 36, tied with Craig Kimbrell, 36 of the Padres.
I think the days off probably coincided with a good period of rest for Trevor Rosenthal, although I can't really say attending your wife and your new child is necessarily a time of rest, but at least it is for your pitching.
For your shoulder, the elbow, the arm, yes.
Sleep, no.
No. The 2-1. Blew it by him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That pitch at 97 from Trevor Rosenthal. There's a look at your save leaders in the National League. If the Cardinals hold on here, they'd be 6.5 in front of Pittsburgh. Chicago would stay 9.5 games back. The 2-2. He got him, and a strikeout for Trevor Rosenthal to start the night. That pitch at 98.
Perfectly located, down and away. The big swing of Morse. He doesn't get cheated, but he comes up empty.
60 2/3 innings pitched for Trevor Rosenthal this year. And here's Sean Rodriguez. And he has struck out 70 now this season.
Pirates had 17 hits here last night in game 1. Terrific offense, but they did strike out 11 times.
And today it's 12. The Cardinals trying to figure out how to get Sean Rodriguez out. 2 hits last night, 3 for 3 today.
A couple of cutters from Rosenthal, which we've not seen for a while.
Oh, the late call. Rodriguez strikes out. And Rosenthal has gotten the first 2 here in the top of the ninth.
Cutter. Then a perfectly executed fastball at the knees.
It's 13 strikeouts of the Pirates here this afternoon. Now this big crowd on their feet. Jaime Garcia, your Budweiser player of the game. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts, 1 shy of his career high. The switch hitter Neil Walker will pinch hit. The final home for Pittsburgh. Two 2-0 the count. The Cardinals 1 out away from win number 87. They'd be the first in baseball to get to that mark. And improved to 49-21. And a base hit for Walker into right field to extend the ball game.
The 2-run home run by Matt Carpenter in the 7th inning has given the Cardinals some breathing room here in the 9th inning, with Pedro Alvarez pinch hitting with a runner aboard. Not as nerve-wracking for Cardinal fans here with a 4-0 lead.
Mentioned Ramirez and the great numbers he's put up against the Cardinals over a long period. A shorter period, Alvarez has done the same. He has destroyed Cardinal pitching. They're playing behind the runner at first base. That's Walker. First pitch gets away from Molina. And Neil Walker will advance into scoring position. Late with that swing, and it's 1-1. Alvarez with 22 homers this year, 4 for 15, 4 RBIs as a pinch hitter. The 1-1. Three and one. Full count on Alvarez. Rosenthal will try to end it here. Three-two pitch and a base hit out to left. Walker being waved in. He will score, and Alvarez extends the game. And the Pirates aren't done yet. We head back to the top of the lineup, and Josh Harrison following this base hit and the 5th pinch hit RBI this season for Pedro Alvarez.
We knew we'd see the left-handed bats off the Pirates bench in the 9th inning. Walker comes through with a 2-out hit. A wild pitch and then a hit the other way for Alvarez. Polanco still available.
Josh Harrison at the plate.
And Polanco in the on-deck circle.
Harrison, a couple of strikeouts. He's lined out and grounded out. 1-0 pitch. Now Molina will visit with Rosenthal, and just by seeing his reaction, maybe mechanically he's picking up something here with Trevor.
And perhaps just slowing him down a bit anyway and giving him a chance to regroup. Things happen bad on the field or against your plan. It's nice to kind of erase it and reset and move forward. And I think Yachty just giving Trevor a chance to focus on what's next to Josh Harrison.
The Cardinals trying to hold on for Jaime Garcia, make him an 8-game winner. The last time that Garcia had struck out 8 in a game was in 2013. He had 9 today. 2-1. He walks him. It gets awfully interesting with the tying run coming to the plate.
Having release point issues. He's pulling the ball across the plate, holding on to it a bit long, and we're talking about just a fraction of a second.
3-1. And again, the Pirates down to their final strike here in St. Louis in Game 2. Three-two pitch. Tying run comes to the plate in the form of Gregory Polanco, who has 7 home runs this year, and Mike Matheny will try to slow down his closer. I completely agree with what you were saying, because in watching Molina go out to visit, and I mentioned mechanics, you could see him with the right arm pulling it across his body as if to say he's pulling it when he's pitching towards the plate.
And that's what a catcher can see really better than anybody. Maybe the batter at the plate sees it too, but he's looking for the ball, not the pitcher's delivery. But the catcher can tell when the pitcher's just kind of carrying the ball across his delivery, and it's got the wrong life on it too. Now he's making adjustments, but he's just not staying there. And this has not been the typical Trevor Rosenthal this season.
Polanco in his career against the Cardinals closer is 2 for 5. Runners at first and second. Tying run at the plate. 4-1 St. Louis. Here in the top of the 9th at Busch Stadium.
Give the Pirates credit. They don't quit.
First pitch to Polanco. And again, taken high for a ball.
No action yet in the Cardinals bullpen. One more batter, and I would think there would have to be.
Question had been up and throwing.
The question is who?
As we say that, David Bell going to the bullpen phone inside the Cardinals dugout. Clearly, the Cardinals seeing something that everybody else is seeing here at the ballpark, which is a lack of control right now from Trevor Rosenthal. 2-1. Pitch number 28 from Rosenthal. A fly ball lifted down the left field line and out of play. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and again the Pirates down to their final strike. The 2-2. He got him. The Cardinals hold on. 4-1 the final. St. Louis takes game 2. And the lead in the Central for the Cardinals is back to 6.5 in front of the Pittsburgh Pirates. 9.5 in front of Chicago. Kevin Burkhardt standing by in Los Angeles.